Have you ever sat quietly on your birthday, maybe with the television murmuring in the background, thinking, well, maybe they'll call this evening? You glance at your phone a few more times than usual. Open Facebook just to check if someone, anyone, has left a message. But the screen stays still, silent. The day drifts on, and it starts to feel like maybe the world forgot you even exist. If that sounds familiar, let me begin by saying this: you are not alone. So many people over 60 find themselves feeling invisible, especially on days that once held so much meaning. Birthdays used to be loud, joyful, full of laughter and hugs, cakes and cards. And now, sometimes it's just a quiet cup of tea and memories of what used to be. It's not just about the birthday itself. It's about the feeling behind it. Feeling forgotten can make even the strongest heart ache a little. But here's the thing. What if this feeling doesn't have to define you? What if there were simple ways to shift your mindset, reclaim your joy, and handle these moments with strength, self-respect, and even grace? Let's talk about how to move through that overlooked feeling, not by pretending it doesn't hurt, but by building a life where your worth isn't dependent on a birthday call, a Facebook post, or whether someone remembers the date. You have value. Every single day, not just once a year. One of the first things we need to understand is that sometimes the people who forget aren't forgetting you. They're just caught up in their own world. The kids are busy, the grandkids are glued to their screens, and life gets noisy. It's not always about neglect. It's about distraction. Now, that doesn't excuse it, but it does help us not take it quite so personally. You see, when we attach our happiness to someone else's actions or inactions, we give away a bit of our power. And at this stage of life, haven't we earned the right to hold on to that power? Haven't we earned the right to wake up on our birthday and think, today I'm going to celebrate me, whether anyone else remembers or not? That brings me to something very important: creating your own rituals. If your birthday rolls around and no one's lined up a dinner or a surprise, why not do something you genuinely enjoy? Go for a slow walk in your favorite park, the one where the trees whisper and the air feels a little softer. Treat yourself to that slice of chocolate cake from the bakery you used to pass on the way to work. Or finally open that bottle of wine you've been saving for a special occasion. News flash: you are the occasion. You don't have to wait for others to validate your existence. Your life is worth honoring. So light that candle. Play your favorite song from the 70s. Dance barefoot in the living room. It's your day, and you get to decide how it feels. And if you're thinking, but it's not the same if no one else is there, I hear you. It isn't the same, but different doesn't mean worse. It means new. It means discovering that your own company is not just enough. It can be beautiful, comforting, even joyful. Still, the heart wants connection, and that's completely natural. So what can you do when you're feeling forgotten and the loneliness starts creeping in? Sometimes the answer is this: reach out. We've been raised to think birthdays are a time when people come to us. But what if you flipped that idea? What if you picked up the phone and said, "Hey, today's my birthday. I'd love to hear your voice." Not everyone will respond, but some will. And just hearing a friend say, "Happy birthday," with warmth in their voice, may fill your heart more than any wrapped gift ever could. It takes courage to do that. It takes even more courage to not let pride keep you silent. Because the truth is, many people simply don't realize what their silence means to us. Life goes by so fast and people forget, not because they don't love us, but because they're racing through the days and we've stopped reminding them that we're still here, still needing connection. And while we're on the topic of people and expectations, let's talk about boundaries too. When you've gone year after year without acknowledgement, it's okay to acknowledge how that makes you feel. It's okay to gently let others know that their absence hurts. Sometimes people truly don't understand until we speak. And yes, you might be thinking, I shouldn't have to explain this. You're right, you shouldn't. But sometimes healing begins not when others guess what we need, but when we simply say it aloud. What you're feeling is real, it matters, but you are not forgotten. Maybe people forgot the date, the call, the gesture, but you are still here. You still carry stories, wisdom, and the glow of every year you've lived. That is something to be honored. So maybe the first step before we look outward is looking inward and deciding I deserve to be seen, not just by them, but by me, because the love we give ourselves can often soothe. Now that we've touched that quiet ache, the kind that creeps in when we feel forgotten, let's talk about something just as powerful, redefining what it means to feel seen. Because here's the truth not everyone tells you, being noticed isn't always about who shows up on the outside. It's often about what you're building on the inside. There's something almost magical about reaching this stage of life. You've been through storms, through joys, through years of taking care of others. Kids, partners, co-workers, siblings, neighbors. You've given your time, your love, your energy. And sometimes that pattern becomes so ingrained, so routine, that we forget how to give all that love back to ourselves. But when birthdays go unacknowledged, it's not just a missed card or a silent phone. It's the universe handing you a mirror, a soft, quiet question in the reflection. What do I need to give myself right now? Maybe it's rest. Maybe it's a fresh journal to start writing your memories, your dreams, your worries. Because writing has a way of helping us feel heard, even when no one's around. Or maybe it's about picking up that paintbrush you left in the closet years ago, or baking that old family recipe that fills your home with the scent of comfort. Sometimes the best response to being overlooked is to go inward, not in sadness, but in curiosity. What brings you alive? What makes you smile, even when the world is quiet? That spark, no matter how small, is worth chasing. And while you're following that spark, it's important to remember this. Connection doesn't always have to come from the people who forgot you. I know that can feel bittersweet. But sometimes healing begins when we widen our circle, even if it starts slowly. Think about it. When was the last time you struck up a conversation with someone new? Not because you needed something, but just to share a moment. It could be the woman you always see walking her dog near the park, or the man who sits alone in the cafe with his crossword puzzle, or that neighbor whose name you still don't know after 5 years. It doesn't take much to build connection. A smile, a comment about the weather, a kind word. And before you know it, you've planted a seed. One day, that seed might grow into a full-blown friendship, one that doesn't hinge on history or obligation, but on shared presence and kindness. That's the beautiful thing about life after 60. You get to choose who you surround yourself with, not out of habit, but out of intention. You also get to ask yourself, what kind of energy do I want in my life now? And if the answer is warmth, laughter, honesty, or even a little adventure, then start moving toward people and places that reflect that. And if those places feel hard to find, maybe it's time to create them yourself. You'd be surprised how many people are out there feeling exactly like you do, waiting, hoping, wondering if anyone remembers they're still here. Sometimes all it takes is one person, you, to make the first move, to start a book club, to host a monthly coffee morning, to join a walking group or volunteer at the library. These aren't just activities, they're lifelines. And you never know who needs you just as much as you need them. Now, let's talk for a moment about grief, because sometimes the people who used to call, who used to bring the cake or write the card, they're just not here anymore. Whether due to distance, misunderstanding, or the ache of loss, their absence cuts deeper than words. And on your birthday, that missing chair, that silent number in your phone, can feel unbearable. If that's what you're feeling, please hear this. Your pain is real, and you don't have to brush it aside. It's okay to cry. It's okay to light a candle for someone who isn't here. It's okay to say their name aloud. Grief has no expiration date. It comes and goes like waves, and on some birthdays it might crash in hard. But even in that grief, there can be warmth. You can carry them with you, in your stories, in your smile, in the traditions you keep alive. Every year you live is a continuation of their love, and you, just by waking up and taking another breath, are honoring their memory in the most powerful way. Now let's turn toward something just as sacred, self-respect. One of the quiet dangers of being overlooked is that it can start to chip away at how we see ourselves. We start to question if we matter. We start to shrink. Maybe you found yourself saying, "It's fine, I didn't want to fuss anyway." Even though deep down it did matter, it still does. But here's what I want you to remember. Your birthday isn't just a date on a calendar. It's a celebration of every lesson you've learned, every challenge you've faced, and every joy you've felt. It's the story of you, still being written, still unfolding. So don't wait for someone else to tell you you're worth celebrating. Say it to yourself. Say it in the way you carry your body, in the way you speak about you. So maybe this year there was no cake, no card tucked behind the fruit bowl, no group of family or friends gathered around a dinner table singing a slightly off-key birthday song, but you woke up that morning and the sun still rose just for you. And in that quiet space, before the world had the chance to disappoint you, you were already enough. There's something profound about choosing to love yourself, even when others forget. It's not easy. It goes against every message we've been given, that love should come to us, that birthdays should be full of noise, gifts, attention. But real growth, real peace, comes when you learn to celebrate yourself, whether the world joins in or not. And let's be honest, at this stage in life, you've probably realized that the loudest parties don't always mean the deepest happiness. Sometimes it's in the stillness where you find your truest self, in the way you wrap that soft scarf around your shoulders, in the way you put on lipstick just for you, in the way you make your morning coffee feel like a little ritual, not just a routine. That's what we often overlook, the power of presence. Presence with ourselves, with the life we've built, with the fact that no matter who forgot, we remember what we've been through, and we're still standing. And maybe now, standing isn't enough. Maybe now you want to dance a little, not because anyone is watching, but because your body still holds rhythm. Maybe now you want to laugh, not politely, but fully, loudly, because joy is still alive inside you, waiting to be uncaged. It's never too late to reintroduce yourself, to say, "Hi, I'm still here. I still matter. I still want to live deeply." And if someone does finally remember, maybe the next day or the next week, and they call with a late happy birthday, you don't have to let bitterness steal the moment. You can say thank you. You can be gracious. And then you can choose whether that person is someone who adds peace to your life, or someone you need to hold at a little distance moving forward. Because here's a powerful truth. Not everyone who's been in your life deserves front row seats anymore. You get to rearrange the theater now. If someone hasn't shown up for you, not just on your birthday, but in the deeper moments, maybe it's time to dim the light on their role. And that doesn't mean you're angry, it just means you're free. And in that freedom, there's space. Space to fill your life with new voices, new routines, new traditions. Who says birthdays have to look the way they always have? What if you created a tradition of writing yourself a letter each year? Something beautiful and raw, a note about where you've been, what you've survived, what you're proud of. Something to tuck away and read again next year when you need reminding of your own strength. Or maybe you choose to do something kind for someone else on your birthday. That might sound backwards, but sometimes giving fills the heart in ways receiving never can. Drop off flowers at a nursing home, bake cookies and leave them for the mail carrier. Write a letter to someone who might feel just as forgotten as you once did. Because that's the secret. When we give joy, we receive it. And here's something else to hold close. You don't have to be cheerful about being forgotten. You don't have to pretend it didn't hurt. But you can choose not to let it sink you. You can feel it, acknowledge it, and then rise above it. Not with bitterness, but with clarity, with dignity, with strength. That's a kind of beauty the world often overlooks, but it's the most radiant kind. So today, I want you to sit with this thought. Maybe being overlooked doesn't mean you've become invisible. Maybe it means you're stepping into a new season where you're no longer waiting for permission to feel special. You're declaring it for yourself. Look in the mirror and say it. Say it like a quiet prayer or a promise. I am still here. I am still worthy. I am still celebrating me. Let the past be what it was. Let the missed calls be missed. Let the empty mailbox stay empty. And then fill your own heart day by day with small joys that are not small at all. You were born on that day for a reason. No one has lived the life you've lived. No one has your stories, your wisdom, your memories, your kindness. No one has faced the exact roads you've walked and made it through quite the way you have. That alone makes your birthday sacred, not because others say it is, but because you do. So light a candle. Bake yourself something sweet. Look through old photos and remember the laughter. Take a walk and feel the wind on your face. Be fully here in this year of your life, exactly as you are. And when you wake up tomorrow, let the celebration continue, because your life isn't just worth noticing on one day. It's worth cherishing every single day. You are not alone. You are not invisible. You are not forgotten. You are a living, breathing, shining soul. Still,